beating up on anybody. So, introduction. My name is Derek Laney. I'm from St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a community organizer, and I'm the co-coordinator of a time bank called the Cowry Collective Time Bank. That's our logo there.
What's that thing in the middle?
It's a cowry shell. It's these little tiny seashells.
Oh.
And the cowries have been used as means of exchange and throughout Africa and Asia as a token of exchange from the early gift economy. So we adopted that to give reference to the way people exchanged before us.
Right.
So thanks for joining us. This is a conversation. So it's about sharing our thoughts. It's about sharing our perspectives. I don't have answers. I have a perspective. I have some information, but I'm interested in knowing what you guys think. And so I want to engage us in a directed dialogue. So the guidelines come from a book that I really enjoy. It's called Crucial Conversations. Tools for talking when the stakes are high. What's a crucial conversation? A crucial conversation, according to this book, is defined as a conversation or discussion between two or more people that have these three things in common. The stakes are high, there are differences of opinion, and I imagine in a room with more than two people you're going to have differences of opinion, and emotions are strong. So that's a crucial conversation. So things to keep in mind are how do we think about problem situations and how we respond to them, especially when we're under stress. So just keep that in mind, because we all have strategies on how to get what we want. We have strategies on how to deal with a situation if we feel stressed out, if we feel attacked, if we feel vulnerable. Keep that in mind while we're having this conversation and manage yourself. So the other thing is it requires self-awareness, knowledge about our conflict behavior under stress, and the ability to manage our emotions before they get out of hand. The key principles to keep in mind are to practice mutual respect and safety, measure and manage emotions, and instead of defending, dominating, debating, and disagreeing, how about we use dialogue? So can we all agree to those guidelines?
Yeah.
Anybody that doesn't agree to those guidelines, want to do something different? Great. All right, I'd like to begin with a quote. And the quote reads, "Practical wisdom demands more than the skill to be perceptive about others. It also demands the capacity to perceive oneself, to assess what our own motives are, to admit our failures, to figure out what has worked or not and why. Such reflection is not always so easy when we've been wrong. It is also difficult when we have been being wrong. When we've been thoughtless, careless, too self-interested. Being able to criticize our own certainties is often a painful struggle, demanding some courage as we try to stand back and impartially judge ourselves and our own responsibility." And that's from Barry Schwartz, author of Practical Wisdom, The Right Way to Do the Right Thing. So that's a quote to keep in mind while we go through this. So, more than an afterthought, people of color in the new economy movement. What is the purpose of our conversation today? I'd like to hear from you. What do you guys think? I mean, you heard the title of the presentation. What do you think the purpose of having this conversation is?
It's a conversation that America needs. It's always the 10,000-pound gorilla in the room, as far as I'm concerned. It's the conversation that America finally needs, because America is never going to be America. That all those big, shiny, great words, it's never going to come true until we handle this racism conversation. Until white people come and say, yes, there was, and I did it, we did it, or my forefathers did it, we're sorry, and blacks come to say, we forgive,
Okay, save us some for the sequel. You're gonna give it all. Anybody else who has an idea of what is the purpose of our conversation? Yes.
Well, for me, I came to this because whenever I look at a movement or come to a workshop, I look at who's represented. And for example, at this workshop, most of the keynote speakers, all the pictures show what I would identify as white people. And I feel like I'm uncomfortable in being part of a movement that the primary faces are white, given the diversity of our nation. And so I'm very committed to broadening out that leadership and representation.
Wonderful, and thank you for that. Someone else, everybody didn't have to go, but if you have something.
Well, I came because I think it's an important element at the beginning of our time bank to bring together all race, socioeconomic people to participate in the sharing economy. And I guess I was thinking that maybe there would be tips on how to integrate various populations so that it isn't just an exclusive majority white middle class movement.
Thank you. Let's hear from someone else. Yes.
Just by the title, more than an afterthought, I thought it would be about how Black music is an integral part of it, and you would explain it more, and how we can take it back to our, our community.
Thank you.
Bring more in.
Thank you so much. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
I believe for this country to survive, that people of color and the economic improvement for the people of color, by the people of color, will be the salvation of this country, and maybe even the world society as we know it, like we know that there were societies back in the Roman days and whatever days that aren't there anymore.
Great, thank you. Someone else?
To getting to clear and homeostasis, healing from within all the injustice, and the old song, red and yellow, black and white, we are precious in his sight. So until we all recognize our common need for love and acceptance and a way to use our gifts and engage, then we don't have the real ministry that my church professes to preach.
Wonderful, thank you for sharing that. Do we have someone else?
And then I just wanted to say, having been on the conference calls for planning this conference, they tried, the conversation was had of how can we get some not white males to be keynote speakers. So I don't know why that wasn't successful, but at least the conversation was being had and was in the heart of the conference. So I thought that was really good. And also, as a storyteller, what drew me here is a couple of things. One, so I love Edgar Kahn and have a lot of respect for him, but I don't love that the story is framed of Edgar Kahn is what made time banking happen, because actually a group of African American women in St. Louis made time banking happen.
That's right.
So trying to reframe the story of those women doing the work is why we had the example that this works. So yeah, trying to look for more stories of that diversity to include in the dialogue.
I appreciate that. That was going to be part of my presentation to talk about St. Louis. No,
Sorry,
I'm glad that you said it, so it doesn't seem like I just pulled it out of the air.
No, yeah, that's true.
Yes. Someone who hasn't gone, you had something. I don't know your name. Oh. Did you have something?
No.
Okay, someone who hasn't gone yet, and then we'll continue.
I think this is a conversation about inclusion and about learning that there are more than two colors, also than black and white. And the variety and the talents and culture that we bring to this country is very, very wide, and it's very, very valuable.
Yes, I appreciate that. Thank you. And so, what I will say is, I believe that what you all find as the purpose is pretty much what you expect to find is what you're going to get out of this, and probably a little more, because we have all these different perspectives. What my stated purpose is to have a conversation that challenges ourselves to think about how we can be conscientious and proactive about who is present in terms of racial composition in the membership and the leadership of our organization. We're talking about new economy, sharing economy. We have to be conscientious and we have to be proactive about who's present. So I liked what a lot of you said. It's not all right to just say, oh, well, this is who showed up. That's my purpose, to think about why only these people showed up and why does it only look this way and how could it look a different way? And if you don't ask those questions, you won't come to those answers. So that's my purpose here. Thank you. So what I'd like to do now is let's kind of reflect and talk about what do we think it means for our specific organization, those of us who are part of Time Bank and other organizations, and what does it mean for the movement to create an economy that works for everyone, those numbers that we talked about. So, this is the conversation, just whatever's on your mind, whatever you think. What does that mean? What are some of our reflections? I can start. For us, I gave a little bit away, is that, the origins of the Cowry Collective, even in the name and the logo, is about empowering people of color to create something specifically that is a mutual aid organization. That was the origins of it, and what we found is that it attracted, white people and other people of color. And so I think what it means for us to have the type of leadership that we have racially, it means that we are pursuing our purpose is to empower people of color to create something and build something. And we're not opposed to having white people in the leadership. None have stepped forward to actually take leadership roles, and when they do, we will make places for them as well. So that's kind of the meaning I take from how we're structured. Come to where I am comfortable as a white person, and then join us, and let's be equal over where I am, where I have all the resources and all the privilege. And now I'll accept you and help you. And by the way, act a little wider so I can be comfortable with you. And that's one of the things that we have to really say. You have to call things what they are. That's what I see. That's the reality that I see. Now, maybe you all see a different reality, and I'm open to hearing that. But that's the reality that I've seen growing up in America. That's the reality I've seen through my research and readings, is that we don't name things for what they are in America. We as a country, but specifically our white sisters and brothers, don't claim that reality that they've cornered the market on defining what is real, what is true, what is
privilege.
The norm.
It is what is the norm. Humans are white, people are white, Americans are white. When you say that, you go through a book and you'll start describing, a man came in the room, he did this, he did that. In your mind, you're thinking, it's a white guy. Unless it says a black man came to the room, you're thinking a man is a white man.
Like a dentist is a man.
A dentist is a man, as well as a woman as well. And what I'm saying is, if you don't question that fundamental way of thinking, that is a privileged way of thinking. You get to be a human being while other people have to earn human being status by behaving respectable enough in your sight. I think that's an important thing for white people and people of color to recognize, that that's something we have to deconstruct. If you've ever been offered a good job because of your connection to a friend or family member, take one step forward. If you have inherited or are likely to inherit money or property, take one step forward. If you have ever been stopped or questioned by the police because of your race or ethnicity, take one step back. If you have ever been made uncomfortable by a joke related to your race or ethnicity, take one step back. If you have ever been the victim of violence related to your race or ethnicity, take one step back. If your parents told you that you could be anything you wanted to be, take one step forward. Everybody just stay where you are and look around at where everyone else is.
That's par for the course.
What happened?
That's par for the course. Yeah.
What happened?
Segregation.
Not segregation, because segregation, not so much just that.
Well, inequality.
Inequality. Inequality for sure. Let me ask you guys, we don't have a lot of time, but how did this make you feel when we were going through the question?
It's what I already know. I mean, as an African American male, we are the lowest on the totem pole. Everybody's afraid of us. Everybody is scared of us. No one trusts us. They don't even know us.
Anybody getting any aha moments? Anybody learn anything in the process of doing this exercise? Was this new information? Was this new?
I just wanted to go forward, but you keep sending me back.
She was at the wall. You didn't have to step forward, did you?
I was like, I'm supposed to lie and come forward.
Yeah. There's all kinds of privilege that it's out of our control. We're born into it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
And a lot of me going back wasn't because of my doing. It was
you guys, you
because
can
of
have
other
a seat.
people's
We've
doing.
seen that. You can sit.